Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlipp. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_that. Well, let's not bury the lead, shall we? The last we had talked about it, the Bears and Illinois took a giant step toward keeping the Bears in Illinois. The politicians have been the main reason why I've believed that it's at least extremely possible the Bears could actually end up in another place. Well, then the reports came out, unfortunately, that they're going to have a meeting. Politicians they're going to meet with the Chicago Bears and they're going to try to work this thing out. And I thought, there you go, that's it. It's freaking over now. They're going to end up working out a deal. I guess that always made the most sense that they were going to end up staying. And, it's not like these guys would be stupid enough to actually let the Bears leave. I mean, you can't let them leave Chicago, but at the very least, keep them in Illinois, I guess. You know what I mean? You got to figure something out. Well, it turns out that meeting between the Bears and Illinois legislatures, including Governor Pritzker, was canceled. And I thought, what the heck are these frickin' politicians doing now? They just canceled it? Turns out, no, they didn't. The Bears did. The freaking Bears said, you know what? Cancel the meeting. Apparently, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is, quote-unquote, very disappointed and was surprised. Governor J.B. Pritzker laid out sort of a detailed timeline of exactly what had happened. He said his team had a more than 3-hour meeting Wednesday with the Bears officials. It was a very positive discussion and mostly agreed on a bill that would move forward this morning. Again, it really did sound like they were going to get this done as far as Illinois and the Bears working something out. The Bears asked to pause so they could tweak a couple items in the bill. Now that's, in and of itself, if I'm Pritzker or whoever, I'm getting nervous at that point. Because if you're weighing your options and you kind of want to see what's going on over here, you want to slow the process. If you're Illinois or Chicago or whatever, you want to speed up the process because other people are vying for the attention of the Bears. So for them to come out and be like, this is great, but let me just take a look and, there's a couple things I just want to tweak and we'll get back to you. Not a good sign. Then Bears President Kevin Warren did not attend Wednesday's meeting. The Bears released after that a glowing statement about Indiana. The statement said, the passage of SB 27 would mark the most meaningful step forward in our stadium planning efforts to date. We are committed to finishing and remain site-specific necessary due diligence to support our vision to build a world-class stadium near the Wolf Lake area in Hammond, Indiana. We appreciate the leadership shown by Governor Braun, Speaker Huston, Senator Mishler, and members of the Indiana General Assembly. We value our partnership. Pritzker said, it was a surprise to us. I have to say it's very disappointing to hear that they would put that statement out, but not saying about the advancement that has been made in Illinois. Oh, sure, you talk about how good it is with them. You don't talk about us. We've had good talks, too. We are waiting to hear from the Bears what they would like to do next. Still waiting on that call, Bears. Pritzker's office added, Illinois was ready to move this bill forward. This morning, we were surprised to see a statement lauding Indiana and ignoring Illinois. The Bears later told Illinois staff the Indiana statement was not confirmation of a move. Indiana had simply asked them to issue it to support the legislative process. As for Indiana, as I mentioned before, they have the Northwest Indiana Stadium Authority, which is hilarious. They built this whole committee basically just to woo the Bears here, which it sounds crazy, but at the same time, this is obviously massive. We're talking about $1 billion freaking stadium that's going to bring in psychotic amounts of revenue that just didn't exist, that Illinois and Chicago have been kind of snubbing their nose up at, which, great. Today, the House Ways and Means Committee passed an amendment naming Hammond specifically by a 24-0 vote, meaning the Gary Bears are dead, essentially, but Hammond will figure something out. It needs full House plus Senate passage plus Governor Mike Braun's signature. The session ends February 27th. They're expecting to fast track that, so by February 27th, everything should be set in, a week. I'm not saying the Bears will be there in a week. I'm just saying Indiana is fast tracking everything to make sure that they are rolling out the red carpet. They are slashing through any red tape so that everything, all I need is your signature and you can begin construction. Ready to rock and roll. We'll get out there, start doing what you need, building roads, doing all that stuff. The financing framework, the Bears would invest $2 billion privately toward the stadium, which, again, if you're Indiana, good Lord, a $2 billion investment? Who is not going to do? I mean, granted, this is, who knows where exactly all the money is going to end up, but obviously a massive portion of that money is going to stimulate your economy. On the public side, $1 billion for road and infrastructure, funded entirely by new redirected stadium district taxes, 12% administration tax on events, 1% food and beverage tax on Lake and Porter counties, blah, 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 blah. Authority would build, own stadium, and lease it long-term to the Bears. Bears would keep most of the revenues, and there would be an option for the Bears to buy for $1 later. It's kind of interesting. That is one of the sticking points, by the way, about the Bears being in Chicago. There's this weird thing with Chicago actually owning it, and so the Bears are not actually getting a ton of the revenue. A lot of it is going to Chicago, and they're also not allowed to have events and all this other stuff that they would like to be able to have, other revenue-generating things that big stadiums have. Governor Mike Braun said Indiana is open for business and our pro-growth environment continues to attract major opportunities like this partnership with the Chicago Bears. We've identified a promising site near Wolf Lake and Hammond and established a broad framework. House Speaker Todd Houston said the Bears would invest $2 billion toward the stadium, called it a public-private partnership with huge economic upside. The Hammond mayor, Tom McDermott, said Hammond would do whatever it takes, best deal, best business environment. Some of the reason all of this is happening, for Illinois, you have a very high tax, high, red tape type of a state with Governor Pritzker and everything. Been very slow on big corporate incentives. Property tax freeze is politically toxic locally. Indiana being much more pro-growth, very low taxes compared to Illinois, rolling out the red carpet, moving fast, which in and of itself is appealing. You work with the Illinois and Chicago governments and you see how slow and frickin' sludge-like it is, and then you look at the lightning-fast movement of a place like Indiana, and it's like, this I would much rather work with these people. In addition, the Bears have told multiple times by Illinois that the full package isn't happening in 2026 without major movement. Classic NFL stadium playbook. Shop competing states and cities to extract the best deal. Today was textbook positive Indiana vote plus statement equals pressure on Illinois. So again, I have to be of the belief that the Bears desperately want to stay in Illinois. And it's entirely possible they are putting maximum leverage on Illinois to get them to bend and eventually break on these incentives that they want to keep them in Illinois. There has to be some level of pride. In fact, I don't even know how they can just so easily walk out of Chicago. I would be doing every possible thing I could. I'd screw Arlington Heights. I want to be in Chicago. I mean, the site they have now is freaking beautiful. How can you be so stupid, Chicago, is to not just, I don't know. It's like I'm not even a Bears fan, but I just have enough respect for the institution. The Bears are an institution. I'll make fun of them and all that stuff. Ha ha, you suck, blah, 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 blah. It's shameful. Chicago Bears are an NFL institution. They should be in Chicago. They should build a beautiful, massive stadium in Chicago, deserving of the name Soldier Field, deserving of the legacy of one of the earliest, oldest, original franchises in the NFL. And instead, they're over here bickering about can they get the government to help us out connecting a few roads and a couple tax breaks because we're going to go freaking broke to be out here in Arlington Heights. And they can't even get it. So fine, good, screw you. I hope you go. Even if you go to Arlington Heights, I'm still going to make fun of you. You think I'm not going to make fun of you? I'm absolutely going to make fun of you. And here's the reason why, by the way. So I got into some bickering matches with some Bears fans, and their whole big thing is we're still going to be the Chicago Bears. We're still going to be the Chicago. Yes, in title only, you frickin' moron. If you moved to some backwoods gas station, one of those stinky ones that's got like the key. You go out there and you walk in, you're like, bro, I'll just hold it. I can't. If you move your stadium into that in, like Southern Alabama, but you kept the title Chicago Bears? Do you think I'm going to think of you as a Chicago franchise? No, you're in Alabama. It's one of the things I told one of the guys, well, we're still going to be Chicago. Yes, you will be you will be whatever, the Chicago Bears, the same way that North Korea is a democratic republic. It's a fake title that means nothing. It's actually kind of an interesting thing, by the way, when you look at, I think we put way too much stock in the names governments give to themselves. Like, oh, they're this and they're this and they're that. That's just the title, bro. And almost everybody's lying. Nobody is what they say they are. It's just the name that's most appealing to them or what they feel is the most appealing. But the beauty of it is that and I know that they've beat us the last couple times and it's freaking annoying. And it's like, oh yeah, you got us, even though you suck and you only beat us because we were playing we were the worst team in football. And that's why you beat us. And you barely beat us. It took a last minute miracle to beat a team that couldn't beat they couldn't beat Clemson. All right. They would have lost to Clemson in January. And you almost lost to them. You suck. And we're going to get back, and we're going to get healthy, and hopefully we don't play you in the last 2 weeks of the frickin' season. I want to see you week 1 and week 4. We're going to freaking decapitate you. And we're done with this crap. It's over. I'm over it. But anyways, the only thing that these absolute scumbags who almost entirely live in the suburbs of Chicago have is, oh, what do you have in Wisconsin? Cheese. What do you got in Wisconsin? Cheese. I don't know, brother. What do you got in Hammond? This entire image, and I've talked about this since day one in this podcast, Chicago Bears fans' entire image is, we are from Chicago, the great Chicago. It's their entire image. And again, the whole thing is sad and pathetic in and of itself because nobody actually cares about Chicago. Nobody wants to be in Chicago. Everybody's fleeing Chicago. Everybody hates Chicago. People that live in Chicago flee to Wisconsin. You know how many homes on lake, go to any lake in Wisconsin and go knock on a door, or better yet, just walk in the driveway. Their license plates are all from Illinois. Now go down to Illinois and walk around where they have little freaking ponds because they don't even have lakes really in Illinois, and go see how many people are from Wisconsin. Nobody in Wisconsin is going to go to vacation in Illinois. And no, they're not going to Chicago either. Maybe we'll go to the Shed Aquarium for like a day. We'll drive there and we'll get the hell out of there as fast as possible because we don't want to be in Chicago. Nobody likes it there. Nobody wants to be there. And now your prized possession, the Chicago Bears, don't even want to freaking be there. And what do you guys have? You guys who don't even live in Chicago, almost every single one of you is a suburbanite dork whose identity is wrapped up in a city that you don't live in. And it's the lore of the city. It's not even actually the city. The city is not great. There's nothing very good about the city. Which is a shame because there should be. There's a lot of history there, but it's all ruined now. It's ruined and it's garbage. And everybody hates it and nobody cares. And you're not New York and you're not LA and you're not even Wisconsin. You're not the nice peaceful place that people go to vacation. And if everybody wants to go to a city, they're going to a different one. Unless they just happen to live in this region and they can't get to New York, then I guess they're forced to go there. Although they'll probably just go to Milwaukee in that case. Because what's the difference? Honestly, it's a dirty place with big, tall buildings and good food and overpriced drinks at bars. Okay, I don't need to go to Chicago for that. I can go to Milwaukee for that. If I want to see homeless people, I'll go to Madison. But now you don't even have that. You don't even have your elitist bullcrap. And again, even if you go to Arlington Heights, every Bears fan that wants to talk trash about Green Bay, Wisconsin. First of all, they've never been to Green Bay, Wisconsin, just like they've probably never been to Chicago, aside from a couple times they took field trips, like I did when I was a kid, in the suburbs of Illinois. We took field trips into Chicago, and I got yelled at by my teachers to stop talking to the homeless people who were chasing me down the street, asking me, a 7-year-old kid, if I had money. And I was like, bro, I don't know. And they're like, stop talking to the homeless guy, run! Yeah, exactly. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a crap hole. And you don't even have your fake crap hole to brag about anymore. At best, you are the Arlington Heights Bears. What the hell do you do in Arlington Heights, Illinois? I lived, 15 minutes from there, 10 minutes from Arlington Heights. I don't know if I'm sure we drove through it. I couldn't tell you one thing. What is in Arlington Heights? Let me look at it. Is the frickin' the Knights place in Arlington Heights? Let's pull up Google Maps. Let's see, what do we got? We got Pioneer Park, which is the saddest little piece of crap. You got a swimming pool. You can go swimming there. You want to go to Pioneer Park and go swimming with your family? You got Break Escape, which is an escape room. Wow. Wow. Arlington Ridge Center, which is a fitness. So you got a gym. Wow. You got a gym at Culver's, which is a Wisconsin thing. Thanks for, you can thank us for sharing our freaking culture and cuisine with you idiots. Francesca's Tavola. Oh, Italian restaurant. That looks pretty good. I might never go there. Another Italian restaurant called Passero. There's an Arlington Heights Historical Museum. Wow. It's a brick building that looks like every trash apartment. I grew up in like 3 of these as a kid. It's just a brick. It's the same brick. I don't know who designed stuff in Illinois, but they're all brick buildings in just a very square. There we go. Arlington Heights Museum. Cold soda. You can grab a cold soda. I don't know if you can actually touch that. Arlington Club Carbonated Beverages is a little mini truck. That's cute. It's adorable. Wow, a couple lockers over there. Yeah, Arlington Heights is great, man. A lot of great things in Arlington Heights. So I wonder what the excuse will be when they don't show up to Family Fest in Arlington Heights. Oh, I was at the Arlington Ridge Center. I was doing deep squats. I went to the Metropolis Performing Arts Center. What do we got going on at metropolisarts.com here? Probably got something huge going on. Let's see. What kind of events do we have here? Our blockbuster 25-26 season, second act subscription. We got Grease, Oliver, The Play That Goes Wrong, The Wedding Singer, The Wizard of Oz. Yeah, these are like high school musicals. It's adorable. Well, I'm impressed. I really am. I mean, you can do like 9 things in this town. It's amazing. I was wrong. I stand corrected. This is the cultural hub of the United States. People in France, people in Paris envy Arlington Heights and the culture that is steeped in this town. The railroad track that runs right through it. Man, I grew up right next to a railroad track. That was something beautiful. We actually grew up next to it. It was a railroad track and right next to the airport. So you had airplanes flying over our head and trains going by all the time. You could never sleep. It was beautiful, man. It really was the culture of a train. When you got homeless people down the street where the train is, just hanging out in the train cars. You know what I mean? You go down, play by the train tracks with your brother, and then you hear somebody walking around and you run. It's so much culture here in Arlington Heights. I love it. By the way, train tracks in Illinois are great because when you're driving and you get stuck, you'll sit there for 10 minutes and you get to admire all the graffiti on the side of the trains, which is just art, which is more culture. So, I mean, this is great, man. I wish you the best. Arlington Heights, Hammond. Where is Hammond, by the way? I'm looking for it on the map, and it's not popping up. So it must be a massive city of sorts. I see Fort Wayne. I see, there's Gary. Oh, there it is. There's Hammond. Holy crap. What is this, 4 square miles? What can we do in Hammond here? Wicker Memorial Park. Indiana Welcome Center, right there in Hammond. Right when you drive in, you can stop at the Welcome Center. Chicago Bears welcome you to Indiana. Another sporting complex. Ooh, there you go. Langel's Pizza. Right next to Rodney's Sports Bar. That'd be a good one. You know, sports bars all around. Burger King, McDonald's. Yeah, I tell you what, these are jumping. Cracker Barrel, bro. Dude, you got a Cracker Barrel in your town? You are living the high life. Only fancy towns have a Cracker Barrel. You know what I mean? Buffalo Wild Wings. You got some money if you can afford those wings. You know what I'm talking about? Maria's Cafe. It sounds like a really upscale, elite kind of a place. So Bears fans, I was wrong. I guess you get to continue being elitist jagoffs about how great your city is that you live in, which will be Hammond. Although it doesn't really matter because you're still going to grow up in Schaumburg, which is where you've always lived. You've never lived in Chicago. You don't live in Chicago. You act like you live on some high-rise tower over by the frickin' museums. You live in frickin' Bartlett next to a Portillo's, bro. Shut up. So my closing sentiments here before the break, don't ever let them, we're still Chicago. No, you're not. You're not. The Chicago label is just something you decided not to forfeit. And do you know why, by the way? Think about why for a second. When the Raiders moved to Las Vegas, they took the name Las Vegas, right? When the St. Louis Rams moved to L.A., they took the name L.A. In fact, they switched the name back and forth. They were L.A., and then they were St. Louis, and then they're L.A. They keep the names a lot of times. Sometimes they don't, though. Why? Like the New York Giants and Jets, they don't say we're in New Jersey. They keep the name New York. Do you know why? Shame. It's actually shame. Because the Chicago Bears would never change the prestigious title of Chicago to the actual title of the town they live in, because the town they live in is not worthy of being next to the name Bears. And so they're going to fraudulently call themselves the Chicago Bears to try to retain the prestige of something that they no longer hold. You are the Hammond Bears or the Arlington Heights Bears. And it brings me eternal joy. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. All right, let's rip through a couple additional things here. Of general interest, it's possible Mac Jones could end up being traded, which I think is honestly fantastic. He has been massively underrated as a quarterback. I think he's carried the 49ers more so than a lot of people want to admit, not to say that they don't have anything else going for them, but they're already on a bit of a downward spiral. They haven't really been a powerhouse in a while. If they trade their quarterback, I think they're on a collision course with, Shanahan getting fired and the GM getting fired and everything else in very short order, depending on their ability to find a new quarterback. So I don't understand the situation with Mac Jones, but it's pretty ridiculous. Eagles right tackle Lane Johnson announced he will return, which is unfortunate, but I'm guessing this will be his last year. So I want to highlight this here real quick because I've been talking about this quite a bit, and I've never actually played it, and so I want to do that. Here is an interview from February 4th from Romeo Doubs. It's 3 minutes long. We'll see if we do the whole thing or not, but I just want to play this.
Romeo, you guys in the division game, you went up. You had 8 for $124. You get out to that great lead. What happened? How did you let that game get away from you guys?
Look, man, I'm still questioning that now. We all know it's not easy losing in this league, especially in games like that. But to be very optimistic about this, it was very clear that Chicago had the better game plan. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The energy was right. Whatever they had going on, they were aligned. And there's absolutely nothing I can do up at this point. Kudos to them. And again, that just gives me an opportunity to review that, not even just that game, but just throughout the course of the year, and just build off that moving forward, man. That's all.
So, right off the bat, and again, it's off season, so you dig too much into stupid stuff. I mean, people just say things, you know what I mean? And not everything means everything. But the only thing first of all, he doesn't know. Right, that's a common theme, and I think the coaching staff, the GA, all these. I think there's a thread, or at least a small part, or maybe large, I don't know, where there genuinely is I don't really know what the heck happened. But he specifically pointed to two things. Number one, the game plan. Said the Bears had a better game plan, and number two, the energy. And so he's kind of acknowledging what we all kind of saw, which is this managerial, cultural thing that the Bears succeed at that the Packers really struggled, which is a very generous way of putting it.
You know what? It wasn't so much their last game because you did lose the final game of the season, and different than a playoff game is different than a regular season game because there's finality to it. But you lost your last 4 regular season games, so it wasn't like you were going into the playoffs on a high note. What transpired over the last quarter of the season it kind of got away from you guys?
It takes Shannon Sharp to ask the best questions. That's unfortunate.
I don't know.
Not trying to take a shot at our media. They do a good job. I'm just saying, that is a good question.
I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah. And I know there is some answers that must be said right now.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, man, I have no idea what went wrong. but it was very clear that to lose like that, something went wrong.
Yeah.
And again, I'm in the midst of, you know what I mean?
So again, and it's not so much an answer. It's just there's a very even the players, which is weird because we always have this from the outside. We always think the people on the inside know exactly what the problem is. But even on the inside, the players are sitting there with the exact same thoughts we are. Dude, something is wrong. Something is very wrong here. And again, I think there's a little bit more to what he's about to say, but it is to me telling that, and it's worrying a little bit because going into next year, these players are going to have the same mentality. Something is wrong. There's something culturally wrong, whether it's the coach, whether they lose faith in the coach, the coaching staff, the game plan, the scheming, whatever it is. I don't think they go into the season thinking that we're an elite group. Some people maybe will, and hopefully they can raise the, rising tide lifts all boats or whatever. But there is a concern, and I worry about, young guys like Golden. He's coming into this thing, and he's not growing up a Packer fan thinking, oh man, this is a great culture and this is the great. He comes into this thing thinking, I'm an elite player. I should have had, offensive rookie of the year. I should have dominated. And I come in here, and it's like they don't give me the ball. They're doing stupid stuff. We sucked up. Like this place sucks, man. We can't have even guys like Morgan and Belton, like they just keep moving me around and they didn't know what they're doing, and the coaching staff is not doing good, and like everybody's just like it's not working. They haven't been here for 10 years realizing that we've had great offensive lines. It's like they don't know what to do with us. This is freaking embarrassing. And it is.
Still
trying to figure it out.
I'm trying to deal with. There was a lot of last offseason. Josh Jacobs talking about the receiver room, say we need a number one, we need a dog.
They got one.
And I'm sure you and Christian Watson and some of those other guys and Reed, y'all didn't take too kindly to that. What you mean we need a number one? What you mean we need a dog? You don't see us every day?
Look, man, I love Josh. I was just rapping with him, you know what I'm saying, just before we took off. But again, man, it's just, it's the situation, bro. Like,
when you lose like that.
Yeah, it's just.
It's difficult. It's difficult.
Very, bro.
Yeah.
Like some of these things, better left unsaid.
Yes.
To be completely honest about that.
Right.
But yeah, bro, it's just.
Especially if you got to go back in that locker room, because y'all were looking at him sideways.
No. Okay, well, not me, because I don't like to think in that manner.
Right.
Because I know when something is said like that, it is very easy to take it that way.
Correct.
Right.
So,
I like that.
I never really, and again, I know what's in the past stays in the past.
Yes.
I never spoke to him about that. All we did was have great practices together, watch some tape together, go out, go bowling, whatever the case may be, bro. But that is not a lane you want to create, so I'm doing it.
So that was the end of it. And the only other thing that was in there, and I know it partially had to do with this situation specifically between Josh and the receivers. But Romeo, and there's other people that have done this. I don't know. I might have some links to those as well. We'll see. There's been little breadcrumbs from different people where certain questions get asked, and the response is somewhere along the line of, I don't want to go there. Maybe I have the answer, but I don't want to say it. I think there is an element of, I don't know what happened. I thought we all did our best. I thought, we had a game plan. We felt good. We went into the game and it just felt, I don't know what happened. But I also think everybody's got a theory. I mean, we have theories and we're all the way out here. We all got the fixes and we can't see anything. You think Romeo doesn't have some thoughts? I mean, I don't know what those thoughts are, but I'm guessing he has some opinions. And, he's probably smart enough to keep those opinions to himself and, not go around creating drama and everything. But, yeah, I think they all do. And that's where having a really good head coach as a leader is important because, they've got all off season to be up in their head with their thoughts, to be texting their friends and family, to be texting their teammates, to be, listening to the off-season media and everything else and develop all kinds of bad thoughts about the situation that they're in, the coach they have, the viability of their team and the chance that they have of actually doing anything. You got to get that under control, and you got to get these guys of the mindset that we are the greatest, that we are the best, and that we're going to win. And that's where most of us have questions about Matt LaFleur, whether they're warranted or not, I don't know. But I think that is kind of the concern, is can he be the guy to rally the troops and get them to genuinely believe, or are we going to rely on guys like Micah Parsons, which honestly I think is a big factor here. I don't think that the sense of worth and belief came from, LaFleur saying that we're going to do it. A lot of these guys believed because we have Micah now. And I think that you can see that. I've talked about it numerous times where the quarterback, like Aaron Rodgers, would go down and our run defense would stop. Our defense would stop playing well. And it's like, what the hell does Rodgers have to do with defense? Like, why did you? It's because our identity is in Rodgers. Our belief that we can do it is Rodgers. And I really believe that when Micah went down, they stopped believing. And it's not like they consciously did it. It's not like everybody said, I don't care anymore. Football is a game of who can give 110% for 4 quarters. And if you've lost 5%, 10%, if there's hesitation in your mind, if there's a slight sense of disbelief, it changes everything. And you do that across all the different people, the 11 people on a field at a time. It multiplies, especially over 4 quarters, as you start to wear out faster. You start to exhaust mentally, physically, and emotionally a lot faster. You don't have that drive and that feeling of being elite. I genuinely think that is a big part of it, is that their identity as a team was in Micah Parsons. And that in and of itself is a problem. I get it, but it's a problem. And the problem is, if Micah's not on the field, either because of an injury or because he's just on the sideline, we can't be a team that goes to 0 and that's all, let's just wait for Micah to come back. Bro, screw that. There needs to be a new and better message. So I'll tell you what, I want to take a break here, and I want to expand on this idea. I want to expand on the idea of, I believe the reason we failed is because we put our identity in one person, and when that one person went down, everybody quit. And then I want to expand on, if I'm Matt LaFleur, how do we rewire the minds of our players so that we stop hyper-fixating on Jordan Love or hyper-fixating on the superstars of the team and believing that they're the ones responsible for our success? Because you're never going to win that way. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. All right, so again, I think the main issue is putting your identity in a small group of people that get hurt, especially in a season in which everybody's hurt, right? You put, even if it's not 100% in Micah, it's largely in Micah. It's also very much in guys like Tucker who went out, guys like Wyatt. And the point is, you start to lose your belief. And it also makes sense because a question that I've had, because a lot of the negative fans will want to look at it and go, oh, yeah, you see how much you suck without Micah? And Micah is the whole reason, blah, 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 blah. Explain 2 years ago when they had a better defense and no Micah. Can you explain that based on your current worldview? Because you're telling me that if you remove Micah, they're going to be really bad, as evidenced by 2025, except if we go to 2024, we remove Micah and they're not bad. How does that happen? It's because they didn't have Micah. They had belief in something else. And they played for or with or in something else. Once they got Micah, they put all their hope in Micah. When Micah left, hope left. And that was a fundamental flaw going into the season. It was a ticking time bomb that I don't think they recognized. It was a fundamental flaw in the way things are going. And on one hand, you can look at it and say, well, it's not Hafley's fault. And it's not. But it also kind of is. Because the culture and the way that we teach and the way that we communicate and the kind of belief they have and belief in what, that comes from the coaching staff. That comes from the way they're coached, the way that they're talked to, the way that they're trained and taught and everything else. And so I think the Packers have been or are too scheme-focused and do a very good job schematically. But getting them the right sort of culture and mentality is what's been lacking. And it worked so when everybody was healthy. Holy crap, did this thing work? And it spirals up because when you believe in something and that thing turns out to be really, really good, then you start to believe in everything. And then you're a part of this thing that's really, really great. But again, when guys start getting hurt, that belief goes away and it becomes self-fulfilling. You're not so much bad because they're gone. There's no question you're going to be worse once they're gone. Or I should say, there's no question it's going to be harder to replicate that level of success when they're gone. But the reason that you got worse is because you stopped believing that you were going to be good. And because you don't believe it, it became true. And so if you are the coach, whether that's the head coach, the defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator, the special teams coordinator, the number one thing you have to train these people to do, and they're human beings, so you can talk and talk and talk and talk, and what they end up believing in or thinking or whatever is ultimately going to be up to them. But it is also up to you to inspire them enough to get them in their full attention and then put that on a certain thing. Get them to believe in a thing. So you have to build the right thing, and then you have to get them to believe and follow that thing. And the number one thing, and I know the Packers talk about it, but again, it very obviously started to fall apart. Step number one, it's not the player or the person, it's the standard. You don't play for Micah. You don't go into a game saying, I have leeway now because Micah is going to make up for everything. Everything's easy for me now because he causes the quarterback to panic and he draws all the double teams and he does all these things. And then when he's gone, I start to freak out. I start to panic. Oh no, what am I going to do? And now all the pressure's on me. Blah, 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 blah. Stop thinking that way.
From upstairs. Butt cheeks, butt cheeks, butt cheeks, butt cheeks from Brindley butt cheeks.
Okay. But it just comes down to an identity of how we play. Not how he plays, how we play. And ultimately how I play. There's a way that we do things here. And guys like Micah also can play a part in this. They need to understand and instill in everybody else as sort of a leader. Listen, I'm not the guy that does it for you. I can be the guy that sets the standard. I can be the guy that is sort of the North Star, pointing to how things are done, but I'm not the one that's going to do your freaking homework for you. I'm going to do it to show you how it's done so that you can do it too. Because we're not going to be a great defense because we have Micah. We're going to be a great defense if we have Micah and everybody else plays up to that standard. Not to his skill level because they can't, up to his standard, which is everybody plays fast and ferocious and plays to the best of their ability because we have good football players on this team, more than enough talent on this team that if everybody played up to a standard, that with the addition of Micah Parsons, this will be a top 3 defense, no question about it. But guys got to wake up and play to that freaking standard and stop getting lazy because Micah Parsons is here now to do my homework for me. Guys like Micah are going to just wreak havoc. Don't worry about him. You worry about doing your job 100,000%. And you do it with such tunnel vision that whether Micah's on the field or not, you don't even notice. You don't notice who is rotating in off the edge or off defensive tackle or at corner. That's not your responsibility. Your job is to do your job in every moment. You need to have that tunnel vision and play with that level of intensity. Why? Because it's the standard. Not because if I do it with Micah, we're going to be really good. Because that's the standard that we play at, period. You teach the team that if the defensive line hits their gaps and plays with 100% effort, the system generates the sack. Whether it's Micah, Gary, Van Ness, whoever. Let the system be the system, but you're a piece of that system, and you have a job, and you do that job with maximal intensity. And if you do that, the results will come. But I need you to believe and execute. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is one of my favorites, and it's a really interesting concept. And you can kind of say it or view it from a couple different ways, but and there's a lot of overlap here with what I just said, but it's to sort of distribute ownership or to decentralize ownership. And it's not just lazy, like frickin' we fence nonsense. It's not believe in each other, some bumper sticker bullcrap that goes up on the wall. You have to kind of build something up in people's minds, and this is the kind of thing that'll happen in practice and especially in the offseason. This is where, as a coaching staff, you can really build something special. And that is when some absolute nobody third-string person makes a play, you frickin' lose your mind as a team. And not in some kind of like cutesy way, like, oh, can you believe it? This frickin' loser did it. But you act the same way as you do with Micah making a sack or somebody else making a sack or whether it's the top guy or whatever. I think about Kyler Fackrell. Remember when Sackrell had like 12 sacks in a season? And we kind of treated it like cute. You know? Like, that freaking guy, he got 12 sacks. It was almost like a funny thing. And you see that even in it's very subtle and it's very minor. But you can see that in the offseason when somebody that's probably not going to make the team gets a pick. And everybody's got this smile like, hey, the little guy did it. No, it's different. You can't do it that way. There needs to be a sort of intensity the same way. Like, you wouldn't treat Micah that way. You wouldn't treat Xavier McKinney that way if he got that pick. It would be more like, yeah, that's why he's the GOAT. The point is, you need to believe genuinely, you need to build a genuine belief with evidence, right? And this is where building it in people's heads, it's not just something that you say, it's something that you believe because you've seen it and because you've proved it. Not just through words, not just, anybody can do it. If you put your mind to it, you can do it, but through evidence that anybody on this team can be the reason we win on Sunday. Because we've seen it over and over and over and over again. When the fourth defensive tackle comes up and makes a sack. When that UDFA comes in and plays corner and gets a pick or a critical pass breakup. You need that to be a massive moment and not some cutesy little funny thing where the coaches are on the sideline just kind of like, that freaking guy. No, you're damn right. That's what I'm talking about. And afterwards, you tell everybody. Not just like, again, at the end, you all just laugh, be like, hey, look at this guy, he got a pick too. No. He embodies everything that we're trying to do here. And if any of you bring the kind of intensity that he brought, that Jim Smith, the UDFA who got that pick, if you bring that intensity, this is proof that you can be the one to win it for us. And not just in training camp, not just in the offseason, but in a game, in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl. Don't quit. Don't stop. Let yourself be the reason. You be the one that goes and makes the play. Let them genuinely know and believe that at any given moment, you can be the one that we lean on, that we look to. Because again, everybody knows the next man up mentality, but it's so overused. Everybody says it it doesn't mean anything. You can't just say the words. You have to build mechanisms to get people to genuinely believe it. And again, this is a way to do it. You treat everybody like frickin' Micah Parsons when they make a play. And you really burn it into people's brains and their memories that this is a team sport and that anybody on this team can be the one that makes a play. Because when somebody goes down, you don't want just some stupid bumper sticker thing that people, next man up. Yeah, well, it's just the next man up. Everybody knows what to say. But you have it so ingrained in your mind and in your DNA that you genuinely believe that it's my turn. Instead of thinking it's over, you think it's my turn. Because again, all this lip service bull crap about, no, we don't believe it's just next man up. Bull crap. Every single one of you, when you saw Micah went down, you said, there goes our season. And then you go talk to the media, you sit in front of a microphone and you go, well, next man up. That's our mentality here. Bull crap. You know how I know it's bull crap? Because I watched you guys play. None of you believed it. And again, this isn't just training camp when somebody gets a pick. This is in the film room. If you're in the film room going, look at Micah, look at Micah, look at Micah, look at Micah, look at Micah. What do you think you're doing? How often are you saying, look at Kingsley here. Look at the way he does the dirty work. Look at the way he gave everything in spring. You know what I mean? That's what you need to be doing. Look at Quay on this play, given everything he's got. Look at the freaking block that this running back gave on this play. You, as a coach, you need to be conscious about this because the more you keep highlighting, hey, look at Micah, he's the standard. Look at Micah, look at Micah, look at Micah, look at Micah. The more you're doing that, the more you're building a dependence on him. And then, number 3, ultimately, when an injury happens, this is where the coach has to take over. And again, this is where you feel like, I don't know that we had the right leadership, clearly. Because ultimately, it is the coach's job. The entire thing is the coach's job. Number 1, the narrative. What do you tell your team in that moment when he goes down to get them to continually believe in the process, believe in themselves, in the team, and in the game plan? Whatever that message was, it fell flat. Let me just read this portion here in its entirety, because I think when you hear it, there's a level, at least for me, there was a level of pain I felt in my stomach, because you know where we came up flat here. Coach-anchored belief is a bridge, not a destination. There's a role for the coach here, but it's tricky. You don't want the identity anchored in the coach either, because then you've just moved the fragility. But in the short term, after a devastating injury, the coach has to be the emotional thermostat. LaFleur's job in that moment is to project, not fake optimism, but genuine conviction that the standard hasn't changed. We're not adjusting our expectations, we're adjusting our plan. That gives guys permission to still believe. Now, here is where the ouch, if it's already been a couple ouches, here's where the ouch gets really painful. A lot of coaches inadvertently signal defeat through their body language and play calling. They get conservative. This is not only Matt LaFleur, but Hafley. The team reads that as coach doesn't believe we can win either, and now you're done. In addition to that, and this is player level as well as coach level, because if the players don't have it, the coaches might have to make sure that you have that, and that is your why. 85 Bears had it, 2010 Seahawks had it. There has to be some kind of we're doing this for each other, we're doing this because we have a chip on our shoulder because nobody believes in us, we're representing something bigger than ourselves. It could even be we're going to do it for Micah. It doesn't matter, but there needs to be a rallying moment that brings everybody together. Even though we've already built the foundations so that we're going to be fine, there's still another level that we can add to this, and that is the why. That is the thing that is going to inject rocket fuel into this to get guys that have been playing at 100% to get them at 110. Yes, I know mathematically that's stupid. I don't care. You understand what I'm saying. The ultimate problem with the Green Bay Packers isn't really, we think too big. We think in terms of organizational failure, or we haven't drafted the right people, or we have the right people. Everything is fine. I think what we missed was the message. I think we went in and we did something, and we didn't think about the practical implications of maybe some of the little things that could possibly go wrong here. When we went and got Micah, it was just a celebration. It was, heck yeah, brother, we did it. And that's awesome. And it was a good thing. It was a good signing. It was a good move by Gutekunst. I think Hafley did a great job employing him. I think Matt LaFleur did a good job with the team in general. Like, everything was going fine. But what they didn't expect or think about or guard against is the fact that the belief, not just outside the building, but inside the building, not just from, the GM, and it was very clear that everybody was signaling inadvertently that this is the missing piece. In other words, we were flawed and we went out and fixed it. It's sort of this, now we're a championship team mentality. And ironically, that got reinforced in those first couple weeks of the season because you saw how good they were. And so that built into everybody's mind, from the fan base to the coaching staff to everybody. And again, there's all these little signals of things that we weren't guarding against that reinforced this belief that Micah Parsons was the thing that made us a legitimate contender. And that built more and more and more and more over time. And again, it took this belief, it sucked the belief that we clearly had in 2024 out of the players and put it all on Micah Parsons. Because again, we had an entire organizational belief. Even though there was probably, I'm sure, a ton of lip service to the contrary, it doesn't matter. Everybody knows the situation, and the coaching staff from the top of the organization down did not do a good enough job of preventing against this very real danger of putting all your belief in Micah. Even if he's healthy all year, that's not how you get the best out of your players. He's simply an addition to a great team. He isn't the missing piece that's going to take us to the Super Bowl. He's here to make you better. He's here to make us all better, to make the process better. He's not the whole frickin' car. He's just another piece. Again, I think this team, they know, Matt LaFleur's read all the books. He knows all the things. He knows what you're supposed to say. He knows all the frickin' stupid, idiotic slogans. And I swear, if Fence ever comes out of their mind again, I'm going to beat them with a frickin' hockey stick. These stupid, lame, garbage, cheesy slogans need to stop. Because at the end of the day, I don't know that the coaching staff necessarily even believes the bullcrap that they say, and they signal that through their play calling, through the way that they go through their day-to-day. There needs to be organizational belief in the things that we say from the top down. And that needs to not just be, again, this frickin' bumper sticker slogan that we repeat over and over and over and over and over again. It needs to be something that we reinforce at every level. Again, the requirement to celebrate, the requirement to go attack the guy that just pushed your quarterback's head. You know what I mean? Like these are all just signals that they know the right words, but they're not enforcing the right actions. We need to stop worrying so much about do we say the right words, and we need to worry more about are we doing the right things. And that needs to be the realization that Matt LaFleur and the organization have this offseason, because this is fixable. But from the day that these guys set foot back in Green Bay, there is a new standard, not the one that we've been talking about, but the one that we're going to enforce in everything that we do, the way that we practice, the way that we carry ourselves, the way that we talk, the way that we think, the way that we communicate, the way that we interact with each other positively and negatively, the way that we celebrate. And yes, I'm going to mandate how you celebrate. The way that we coach when we review film. We need to talk to our coaching staff and say, we need to be really highlighting the second and third and fourth level guys and proving to this team that those guys can win the game for us so that they not only believe, but they know because of the evidence that we've shown in the film room that you can be the one to win this game for us at any given moment. You're not a freaking support staff for Micah Parsons. We cannot allow Micah Parsons to be a detriment to our team. And I think that's exactly what we did last year. We allowed the rest of the team to believe that the identity of the team is wrapped up in Jordan on the offense and Micah on the defense. And when we lost guys, the team gave up. Can't have that. All right, I'm going to get out of here. All right, you sons of guns, you know how I feel now. You got to have that Patton quote just queued up and ready to go at all times. All right, I'm out of here. Get your calls in, and any way you can support would be greatly appreciated. I did shoot an article over on Patreon for the subscribers. This time was subscriber only. Like I said, it'll be a little of this, a little of that. But it was based on what we talked about in the NFL draft show. Pretty interesting information regarding, age, breakout age, and that kind of stuff. But anywho, I'm out of here. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Put all your faith one man's hand. Build your house on borrowed land. Wind came through on a Sunday night. Your candle blew and you lost the light. Lost the light. Like a room got quiet, eyes hit the floor. Coach went conservative, wouldn't push no more. Body language told him everything he didn't say. We ain't got it, boy, and they believed him that day. Oh, they believed him that day. You can't rent belief and call it yours. Can't lean on a crutch and say you're cured. If you never asked who you are alone, don't cry when the cornerstone is gone. talent walking off that field. The problem was a question nobody wanted to feel. Who are we without him? Should've asked it in July. Not standing 0-5, wondering why, Lord, wondering why. You can't rent belief and call it yours. Can't lean on a crutch and say you're cured. If you never ask who you are alone, don't cry when the cornerstone is gone. No, don't you cry. I've seen teams play for a jersey number, play for a brother underneath the thunder. That kind of standard doesn't leave with one man. That kind of fire, you couldn't kill it if you ran. Couldn't kill it. Standard over stars, that's the only creed. Plant the roots before you ever plant the seed. Coach can hold the bridge, but he ain't the ground. Brotherhood's the only thing that don't come unwound. The only thing. You can't rent belief and call it yours. Can't lean on a crutch and say you're cured.